Hey gang, do you find yourself listening to your music on one app and then listening to your podcast on another app? If you do, stop this insane behavior right now and download Spotify. Spotify is home to all of your favorite music and all of your favorite podcasts. Podcasts including Fly on the Wall, the Saturday Night Live podcast with Dana Carvey and David Spade, the Rock on Tours podcast with Gary Kemp and Guy Pratt, old favorites like Fresh Air, My Favorite Murder, Wait, Don't Tell Me. Look, if you're looking for a news podcast or sports or entertainment or true crime, look, if you're looking for a sewing podcast or an RV podcast, Spotify has all of this for you. That's Spotify. All of your favorite music and all of your favorite podcasts in one place. Find it in your app store and start listening today. That's Spotify, music and podcasts. Let's get down.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host,
All right, hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys all had a good weekend, whatever it is you did this weekend. I had a really good weekend. I hung out with my dog a lot. I played with Skyrocket in San Antonio at Sam's Burger Joint Music Hall on Saturday. That was a really great show, man. That place, that room, man, first of all, it sounds really great, and it sounds great on stage, and has a good light system, and has a good energy flow, like has a good feng shui to it, so when you're playing, you're really hitting the audience, and I don't know, that room has some magic, and it's a great place. We had a great show there. We play there a lot, and this one I think was the best one we ever had. Like on our part, and the crowd was really intense, and it was really, really fun. So that was my weekend. Gang, I would love to talk more about everything that's going on, but I have a great big show for you guys today. I have two people that I sit down and talk to. I will be sitting down and talking to a brand new band from Austin, formed from members of Grupo Fantasma, Brownout, Money Chicha, Dos Santos, and Nemegata. They're called Caramelo Haze, and their brand new album, NOESTÁSAQUÍ, is available now wherever it is you stream and download music on Nacional Records. This is like lo-fi, psychedelic, dreamy Latin music that literally hits you where you live, and features my old friends Beto Martinez and Speice, who have been on the show a lot of times from Grupo Fantasma and Brownout and Money Chicha, and Alex Chavez from the band Dos Santos, who was on the show last year, and my good friend Victor Cruz from the band Nemegata is in the band too. This record is fantastic. You got to get out there and check it out. And they're celebrating with a record release show this Wednesday, July 27th at 310 ACL Live with Peligrosa and other bands. Go to 310acllive.com for all of your Caramelo Haze show needs, and you can go to caramelohaze.com to find out more about them. But before I talk to Beto Martinez and Speice from Caramelo Haze, I speak to Joshua Asante. Now, Joshua is going to be playing an event this Friday here in Austin. It's Lush Life 3. Now, Lush Life is an intimate live performance series that showcases progressive musicians and artists with a focus on collaboration and innovation. And each Lush Life event will include multiple performances from artists across genres and art forms. Now, this is the third one that they've done. It takes place this Friday, July 29th at the Pershing at 8 p.m. and features music from Joshua Asante, who I'll be talking to, the great James Robinson, who's been on the show a bunch of times, Leo Crimbley, who I was supposed to talk to but didn't get to. Hopefully I'll get to talk to him soon about stuff. I'll be seeing him on Friday. But also we'll feature a DJ set by my good friend JaRon Marshall from the Black Pumas, who plays keyboards in that band. And this all takes place this Friday, July 29th at the Pershing. Actually, it will be hosted by me and my friend Kat Costolo, my friend that I've been friends with for quite a few years. And she just started a new show called the Austin Downbeat. And we will both be the hosts of this Lush Life 3 event taking place this Friday, July 29th at the Pershing. Go to thepershing.com for tickets. I'll put a link to the tickets in the body of this podcast. And so before I talk to Beto Martinez and Speice from Caramelo Haze, I talked to this artist Joshua Asante, who will be playing Lush Life 3 this Friday, July 29th at the Pershing. Let's get down. you live in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, dude, I love your music.
Oh, right on, man. Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
man. I've got.
I like it most of the time.
That's good. That's good.
Mostly.
So, how did you get mixed up in doing this Lush Life event?
Man, I know James from way back. Making music here in Memphis.
Right.
Because like that's where his family is from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a South by Southwest showcase with him, and man, we've been talking about doing a show together. I don't know, man, a decade. Like not exaggerated. Like we've known each other for a long time, and just he left Memphis. I stopped playing in Memphis. I play Austin, but usually it's like a touring thing or a main support thing. So it was never like a situation where I could just pop up and do a show with him. I was always committed to some other stuff. But that South by Southwest was the first time we kind of actualized the thing we've been talking about for a long time. And that was cool. That was real cool.
Yeah, and you're essentially the headliner of the show. You're the.
Is that true?
I think so. I think that's what James said. I think that's a good. I want to talk to you some. We have a short period of time for this right now because this has to come out on another show. Next week.
Wait, are you recording video or just audio?
No, just audio.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm rolling up video.
Go ahead. But I'm actually hosting the event, or co-hosting with a friend of mine.
Oh, right on. Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And also I have this interview show, but we're going to talk a little bit. We don't have a lot of time today, but I'm wondering if at another time we can do this for like an hour, and I can really get into your because you do visual art as well, right?
Yeah, I do.
You're just a born artist. It's coming out of you.
I was not born that way.
No.
I asked for it.
How did you? Why?
I guess I was just kind of bored.
Yeah.
And I asked the universe for it, and I just started.
Yeah.
Started with mimicry, Mockingbird shit. I could sing like her. I could sing like him. And James' sister is really important in that mythology too, man. Meeting her and wanting to sing like her, wanting to write like her, and those desires helped me find my way quite a bit. Yeah, I was definitely not a natural man. No, none of that.
Well, I'll tell you what, your music is it's beautiful, and it's also so unique, almost like nothing I've ever really heard before. I mean, unless there's stuff I haven't heard that you're just totally ripping off.
Nah, I mean, man, there are moments where I kind of have a similar experience with the music, but then I can pick out the really fine nuances. So it's like, okay, that's not a complete rip, but that's something from something obscure. Right.
Right.
But yeah, no, man, dude, I was just thinking about that the other day. How I was born in Memphis, but I was raised mostly in the Delta in a small town, and but that area is the birthplace of American music.
Yeah,
that's where the blues is from, and all that blues stuff
too,
came.
right?
Well, jazz is that's New Orleans. It's further down the Mississippi.
Okay,
but the advent of blues and that folk style songwriting, that kind of predates jazz a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, yeah, of course all this shit sounds like everything from the place where a lot of it began, So it makes sense.
Which came first for you? Like, which discipline came first? Because you do photography and and you do visual art and also music. Which one came first?
I feel like it's really hard to separate the two, man, because before I was a so-called professional photographer, I was shooting a lot with like disposable cameras and stuff. And around the same period of time, there were instruments around, but I wasn't playing anything, you know, and I wasn't joking, man. Like around 2005 or 6, I just kind of asked for some understanding with music. And I tinkered on piano here and there, played drums, but I didn't have like an understanding. My understanding is still growing, but photography as a serious pursuit kind of predates that though. I got my first camera in 99 and my first real camera in 99. But before that, like I said, I was shooting a lot with disposable cameras and a lot of film stuff. I got my first professional photography gig before I got my first professional music gig. Okay. So,
oh shoot! Hang on. Are you there? Oh shit. Hey, do you mind doing this? I'm really sorry, Joshua. Oh no, you're back. Okay, perfect. All right, so before I lost you, I got a phone call and it kicks me off of the sound on here, and I'm doing this on my phone.
Sorry.
So you were saying,
I hate when that happens.
I know you said you had your first paying photography job before you had your first paying music job.
Yeah, man, so many years before. Like so many years before. Like I got my first, maybe like 7, 8 years previous, you know? So yeah, technically as a professional, photography came first. But these days it's just kind of like, it's all run at the same time, you know, making a record while I'm getting an exhibit together and on tour while I'm shooting and playing music at the same time on tour. So yeah.
That's awesome. You know, I there's a guy that he was, I don't know where he's from originally, but he lived in Nashville. His name's Jay Joyce. He's a guitar player. He had a band called, a weird, like, alternative band in the 90s called Iodine. And produced a lot of records for people. But we had this long talk one night, and he's also a great painter. And he told me that he kept the 2 studios across the hall from each other. And when he couldn't get anything out in one, he went to the other one. And being able to paint would open up the channels of his mind for writing music, and he'd be able to go back in the room with a purpose.
Yeah. I mean, they're really renowned scientists that have similar practice, you know, like nobody knows them for being a violinist or a classical guitarist, but when they can't get a equation complete, right, go play some music, you know?
Yeah.
I do a lot of that same thing myself. Yeah. Like I've been playing music all day today, because I don't feel like doing the photography editing that I need to do. You know, so it's just like I'm going to play some music and feel useful, and hopefully I'll feel like doing some post work at the end of the day. I get it. I understand that for sure.
Yeah, so that helps you as well, the balance of the two. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Let me ask you this about your music. Do you work with a producer? Do you work? What all, like, is that just you? I get the feeling that it's just you.
It depends on what you heard. If it's like my solo stuff,
your last record,
the vast majority of
your last record is what I listened to.
Yeah, that's probably 90% me.
Yeah.
The homie of mine that is the engineer, he played on some of that stuff, played bass on some stuff. But the songs are my songs and the arrangements are my arrangements. And I played most of the stuff that's on that record. We kind of gang tackled the drums. Came up with a weird, useful method for getting a full drum kit sound from samples. And but yeah, that's mostly me.
Wow, it's amazing. Like you are such
Thank you, man.
uniquely like your vision is incredibly unique.
Thank you,
It
man.
really is, man. How do you perform this stuff live? Like at the Lush Live show, how are you going to do that?
Man, I feel like they're kind of trying to strong arm me into like playing with the house band just because everybody else is. And man, I played in bands.
Sorry.
And that's been cool.
Yeah.
But I haven't been on that of late, man. Like, I have this thing, man. I have to see shit through. Like the way I perform it present day.
Yeah.
I use my computer for drums and I play key bass and keys on songs. And then there are songs where I use the computer for drums and I play guitar and sing and loop my voice and layer my voice and
cool.
Try to have a full experience for myself first. And hopefully that translates to listeners. But I've been thinking a little bit more about like maybe adding a bass player or a multi-instrumentalist, but I don't really want to do 3, 4, 5 piece thing right now. Just
right.
Not. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand,
Yeah.
man. Also, I understand that like it happens a lot in like pop or in hip hop or when you're doing something that's you're making yourself with these machines. You think that it would translate to human beings better, but sometimes it takes away the stuff that made it really unique.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was having that issue before I stopped playing full time in bands because I would bring my demos, I bring the ideas. And, I got a drum machine with, and a guitar pedal chain. So I got reverb and delay and flange on the drums, and the drummer is trying to find his place in that. And if you're not a super secure person, like you're intimidated by the machines. And for me, it's just like, I was never trying to force anybody into playing like a machine, but that's where the vibe started, like that's where the inspiration came from.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I try to kind of keep it true to that. And so here's the thing, man. I feel like no matter what approach I take, if I dedicate the hours to it, it'll be sincere on stage. Doesn't have to have 20 people there with me. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I can't half do it though. This is the thing about being on your own, where it's just you up there. You can't rely on the guitarist is going to play loud tonight. The drummer is going to be on point. It's like, no, man, I got to have it all together.
Yeah,
I got to have it all together. So it takes a lot of dedication, man.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm really looking forward to meeting you, and let's stay in touch afterwards, because I'd love to have you back on the show where we can talk at length about. I'd really love to get into who you are as a creator.
For sure, man.
Yeah,
I'm open to it.
Excellent, man. Well, I've got your number and I've got your email, but everyone can come see you play in Austin on Friday, July 29th at the Pershing for Lush Life, along with James Robinson, Leo Crimbley, and a DJ set by the great JaRon Marshall. And I will be hosting along with my friend Kat Costolo, so we'll get to hang out that night.
Sweet. I didn't know JaRon was DJing. That's tight.
Yeah, I think that just came together today.
I got to be on my best behavior.
Yeah, he's an amazing artist as well. I'm looking forward to hanging with everyone. So so looking forward to it, man. Really nice talking to you, and I'll see you on next Friday.
All right, man.
All right, Joshua.
Take it easy.
Talk to you then, buddy. Bye.
Peace.
That is Joshua Asante from Arkansas, man. What a great, man, his music is so great. Get out there and check it out. This song that I played on here is really good. Joshua Asante, he'll be playing this Friday, July 29th at the Pershing for Lush Life 3, along with James Robinson, Leo Crimbley, and a DJ set by JaRon Marshall. And also there will be a very special guest. I know who it is, but I'm not allowed to say, so I'm not going to say it. It's also hosted by me and my friend, Kat Costolo, from the Austin Downbeat podcast. This Friday, July 29th at the Pershing. Go to thepershing.com for tickets for Lush Life 3, and I'll put a link to it in the text of this podcast, all right? Now let's talk to my old friends Beto Martinez and John Speice from Grupo Fantasma, Brownout, and Money Chicha, and their new band, Caramelo Haze, that they have with Alex Chavez and Victor Cruz from Nemegata. Their brand new album, NOESTÁSAQUÍ, is available now wherever it is you stream and download music on Nacional Records. This is lo-fi, psychedelic, dreamy Latin music. You can find them at caramelohaze.com. And actually, this Wednesday, July 27th, that's day after tomorrow, they will be playing at 310 ACL Live with Peligrosa. This will be their record release show. Unfortunately, I will not be in town. I'm going to be in Houston. So you got to go out there and wave the "How Did I Get Here" flag. Go there and be like, hey, John Speice. Hey, Beto Martinez. Hey, Victor Cruz. Hey, Alex Chavez. I heard you on How Did I Get Here? And now I came to your show. Anyway, we have a great conversation. It's always great talking to Beto Martinez and to John Speice and all the guys from that Grupo Fantasma family. All they do is like the highest quality music. All they ever do is the highest quality. Go look at that family tree of music and it'll blow your mind. Caramelo Haze is just the latest genius offering from these guys. So enjoy my conversation right now with Beto Martinez and John Speice from Caramelo Haze. Let's get down. Exactly.
The old algorithm never lets you down.
That's why I don't let my kids get on my profile, because that shit will turn all like Twilight and fucking all that shit. I'm like, dude, stop.
How many kids do you have?
I have twin daughters, so just them two.
How old are they?
They're 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's right in it.
And John, you've got like adult.
Yeah, they're 25 and 21, and Cedar just moved out to his own place, and so. Yeah, they're. It's in some ways I'm done, and in other ways it's just starting. It's funny, but she's getting married in November to Ian.
To Ian, who I just saw on Saturday.
Exactly.
For the first time in a long time.
Yeah. So he's getting back out in it.
That's good to see, man. That's a talented dude.
Yeah. I'm super happy that he's.
You guys were friends with Daniel, right?
I mean,
yeah. You guys worked.
I produced.
You produced that record.
Yeah. And he was very dear. That was and is a difficult loss, and magnified by the fact that it hit so close to my daughter. You know, and there's kind of nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, but I was really happy. When Ian picked up the guitar again, he definitely left it sitting there in the corner for a while, and all I've bought him is guitar pedals for presents the last several years.
That's
straight,
really nice.
It's just like, here's another cool boutique guitar pedal, and I was just like, oh, I hope that you can find the joy again, and that music does the thing that it does for me in hard times. Besides create the hard times, but just like give me a little hope when I need a little hope. So so he's good. They're recovering and getting married in November. We're all on getting married at Antone's. It's wild.
Oh, that's awesome.
Austin Blues wedding, I guess, and
Austin Chicha wedding.
Yeah, Austin Chicha wedding. That's actually Money Chicha's playing. I'm actually
no way, really?
Wedding.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you give him a discount?
a little bit, but I have to pay the dudes in the band. See, I'm the bride's dad, so I have to pay them. The discount comes out of my end. I don't get paid.
What's going on? That last record, I can't even remember when it came out. now.
The
But,
Money Shisha record?
Yeah, it's.
Future Summit's been more than a year.
I don't remember either.
Did you guys come on here? You guys came on here and talked about it.
I think Greg did.
Greg did.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That record's great too.
Yeah, we love it.
Thanks, man.
Non-stop record making machine.
Trying to be, yes.
I can't remember what. Oh, maybe it was Adrian's record I was listening to. My grandma kind of. She's 99. She took a turn a couple months ago. That was a little freaky, but she's doing better now.
Wow.
But I was there in Houston, like hanging at her house a lot, and so there was a lot of making dinner and listening to music. And when Adrian's record came out, I was listening to it. My aunt was like, "What the fuck is this? Jesus Christ! Gee, what is this?"
This goes good.
So basically, like, she ended up with a yellow legal pad and Spotify next to her because older ladies still have to write the shit down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, just
They're
follow
not
them.
waiting for the algorithm. They're gonna like do it themselves.
I'm like, well, this guy comes from this musical family from this band called Grupo Fantasma, and then everything they do is great. And so I'm just going through the line, all the bands, and every single one, like, she'll go and listen to one and then write me and be like, Jesus, who are these people? And I'm like, I know, that's what I say all the time. There's never anything bad that you get, like, everything the group of you guys do
There's a few.
Well,
is
thank
like
you, man.
this great.
There's a few things that
I would say that I'm mostly proud of everything. I don't know if you dig back far enough, maybe there's some stuff that'd be like,
I'm proud of the work because you have to put art out there, you know? Like,
Yeah.
You have to, like, just do it and do it and do it. And so everything's not going to be your favorite forever, you know? But, yeah, that's very nice of you to say, bro.
Well, they all also, like, each project that sort of unfolds out of it seems to come together organically. And what I read about Caramelo Haze is that you guys were just kind of like making music together and jamming, and everyone was working because Nemegata was working with you, right?
Yeah, I've produced their
Right.
last record, and there's one in the can right now.
The one that's coming out.
Yeah, the one that's about to come out. Yeah.
When does that come out?
Well, actually, they don't have a date yet.
Okay.
They're still. I think they're going to release it themselves. It was like kind of a back and forth there, but the last I heard was that's what they're going to do. It's been mastered. It's ready to go. So
Right.
Yeah.
When I was talking to Greg about this, and I was trying to put like classic rock bands to each of the Latin bands in town, and to me, Nemegata is like the Rush of the Latin bands in Austin.
They do kind of take that
Like,
section, don't they?
yeah,
they have a prog.
They're a little more prog than everyone else.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting mix with those guys. You know.
Yeah.
They take it to some places. On this next one, I think there'll be some surprises. But yeah.
That's good. I'm excited to hear it. So you guys did this with Victor Cruz and also Alex Chavez from Dos Santos. Now, I talked to Alex before because did you do another thing with him? Didn't you?
I have worked
He's from
with
Chicago,
him.
right?
He's from Midland, I guess. From
Okay.
out in West Texas. That's where he's originally from.
Okay.
But he's based in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah. And he lived here in Austin all through his college years, so like early 2000s. Had a band called Maneja Beto, which played a lot. Used to open for Fantasma at Antone's back in the day. Very cool band, but that's how I got to know him. So we've been friends for a little over 20 years at this point. We did a digital EP back in 2010 of a project called the Downtown Rulers Club.
Okay.
That was a bunch of like soul, kind of Motown-y stuff that he wrote that I played guitar on. And that was the first time the two of us really worked together. And that was also one of the first recordings that I ever made myself.
Okay.
And then he eventually, when he left to Chicago, he formed a band there called Dos Santos.
Uh-huh.
And I recorded and mixed and I guess co-produced with them one of their records about 2 records ago. It's called Phonographic.
Okay.
So that was probably the last time before this that we worked together.
So what made you guys want to put together another? I guess, I mean.
Well, it wasn't.
It wasn't a conscious decision. That's really the fascinating, or the fun thing about, you know, how this band came to be is there was no decision to be a band. There was a song, and so we're like, this is at the beginning of the pandemic, and you know, but pre-vaccine. People deciding, remember bubbles? People deciding who was in their bubble. That was the people you would go hang out around without a mask or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So we had to make those types of decisions. And me and Beto had, you know, agreed to do some stuff. But really, there was no gigs, and there was no telling what was going to happen musically. And what sort of stands out to me as a beginning point for it is he was locked up at home in Lechehouse, and made. He put himself through a little exercise and made some songs where he had 6 hours to complete a song that was a couple of minutes long, where he played all the instruments, and then he put it on social media that night. Did like 3 or 4 songs, just a proof of concept thing to say, hey, I can do this, here's some music. But Fat Beats, who was Brownout's label at the time, said, yo, I'll put out some, how about like just a Lechehouse content deal. So suddenly there was a reason to do something. There was a reason to actually be in a room and work, and that sort of feels to me like when it got started, and Alex was visiting from Chicago, and him and Beto were going to do a song. And then Victor and Beto had just done a project, El Guambito, they did a project, an EP together. And so there was already a working symbiosis there. And when I found out that they were in town, I was like, hey, man, let me come be in your bubble, do the work. And so that was kind of it, just a couple of days later, instead of one song, there was 10 songs, skeletons for them. And the way they were written, we all sort of produced, mixed, and played each other. I've got a little guitar and keys on it, and Beto plays guitar, bass. He's recorded and engineered and really produced it. But it was very unintentionally democratic, in terms of the making of the music. And so suddenly there was when we got done with it, or I guess not done, but just at a point, we all realized that the workflow and the collaboration were coming along so marvelously without any planning or thought. And it's, after being in bands for 15 and 20 years, how that's like a marriage, and everything's got to be ground out. The decision to, get in a rehearsal, So we just felt so refreshed by it, and like, wow, maybe this should be a band. This is a band. What do we make, And then when we got done with, done's not the right word, but when we had what appeared to be a record's worth of stuff, it was like, this doesn't seem like this goes on Fat Beats, like that's a hip hop label. This is all in Spanish,
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool if, a label like a Nacional that has some, reach in the Spanish speaking world, would pick up on it, and then that's kind of how we ended up there, by sort of, putting it in a friend's hand who played it for them.
I went to their website. They're doing really cool shit, Nacional.
Yeah, they've been a name in the like quote unquote Latin alternative scene, and they may have even like coined that term. I'm not sure, but they're also associated and put on the Latin Alternative Music Conference.
Okay.
Which for I don't know how many years at this point has been sort of a showcase.
Where does that happen?
That happens in New York. It just happened like last week, I think.
Did you play?
For this year? No, we didn't. It just the timing wasn't there. But yeah, they've like showcased a lot of the new and up and coming and fresh stuff in the Latin alternative world. So for us, that was a goal to reach out to them, and I just started pitching that record to a few different places just to kind of get an idea. I had even actually talked to Adrian early on, and he was like, man, I'll put it out. And that was sort of floated for a little while. He was like, I don't know how, but I'll do it. But then I got introduced or connected with Tomas Cookman from Nacional, and he was totally into it. And like John said, it seemed like the perfect fit. So we were like, I think this is where it should go. So
the family has worked with them before in the past. Adrian has put out stuff on Nacional that I played on. Natalia Clavier's record is on Nacional, and so we've done Nacional showcases at South by Southwest, and our friends Jungle Fire have from Los Angeles. One of my percussion teachers is in that band, and they have done some stuff with Nacional and got syncs from it, got to be in a movie soundtrack.
Well, that's one thing I saw. They have like a list of all the shows that they've gotten songs on, and I was like, shit.
Yeah, they have an arm internally that just works that, which was also kind of a selling point. Because like when I spoke to Tomas Cookman, who's the founder of and like an A&R for the label, that was one of the first things he said, and that was one of the first things we had in mind was we feel like this would be perfect for some movie music.
Right.
So let's see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, so the name Caramelo Haze, is that like a sugar high?
No.
If
Okay,
you look it
that's
up
close,
on Google,
right?
all that comes up is weed. Like all that comes up
Oh,
is pictures
okay.
of weed, but like that was also not the intent.
Oh.
Was that song named? I mean, I know. Like, when that song was written, was it named that?
No, it wasn't named that. So I had.
Hey! She didn't drink
Oh,
it.
it's cool. So there's a song on the record that's also named
Yeah.
Caramelo Haze, right? And that's where the name first appeared for that song. But that's not what I called it. I just had a working title on it. I don't even remember what it was called. But sort of the idea of Caramelo Haze was more based on just this kind of general idea of the sound and the feel of the music as it was coming together. And we would joke around and like just talk about weird little scenarios or whatever that were conjured by the music. And a lot of it was sort of this tropical feeling of like being on a beach, and that color caramelo, it's like
Yeah.
an amber, sort of like a caramel color,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So anything from like
Okay.
people's skin when you're
Right,
on the
right,
beach,
right.
or just like the sun, and just like a general kind of color. But everything that was coming together was also like pretty psychedelic and pretty weird. And we were purposefully, or at least like Alex and Victor, the lyrics they were writing were like kind of weird and psychedelic as well. So we definitely wanted to push forward that notion that like, yeah, you're on a beach, it's like really beautiful,
Yeah.
and everything's perfect, but then there's something weird that's almost makes you uneasy, but it's just strange and psychedelic. So that's kind of where the haze came in.
Yeah.
And those two words together sounded good. So we named the song that, and then we sat down to talk about names for the band and sort of concepts around that. And one, like, I've always thought that Spanglish is a perfect place to be, especially for us.
Yeah, yeah.
For me in particular, I'm from the border. I
Yeah.
feel like that's an identity that I can exploit.
Yeah.
That's like where I come from. And like a lot of times if you name something like just like purely in Spanish, you're going to run into all the problems of pronunciation and people saying it wrong and whatever. So I like to mix it up because it just makes it easier for non-Spanish speakers, I think. And then there's a word in there that they recognize or whatever. So this checked that box, and then it kind of just fit the whole concept of this real sunny, kind of breezy, tropical, yet psychedelic thing,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. There's the song El Payaso. Scary, dude.
Man,
song's
I
scary.
actually saw your notes
Yeah.
there. And that song, the working title, when I pulled up the project and I had to save
Let's
it as
Scare
something.
Johnny.
No, I actually named it Acoustic Scary.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was
scary.
based around a riff that I had on the acoustic.
Yeah.
And I was like, this shit sounds scary. So it was Acoustic Scary.
Yeah. You guys cover a lot of ground, like stylistically on there. Like there's a bunch of different sort of rhythms going on in there.
Yeah, you know, I didn't. I only played a couple of little unisons on percussion, and it's the first time I've been on a record from anyone in a long time that I didn't play really most of the percussion. You know, with the exception of like Sweet Lou is congas and stuff on Brownout, but like. But it's a trust thing, you know, like I've done a lot of studying at it and I've played with a lot of great players, and I really like, if I don't want to get my hands in it, that means whoever's doing it is doing it really well. And I just think Victor's a master percussionist, you know, and it's
so he played on
Colombian
there.
style stuff.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's so there, my background is more like the Cuban, Afro-Cuban
Right.
classic conga repertoire and language, but Victor is, you know, legit great Colombian percussionist musician, and we did a lot of things. Like most of the percussion is detuned, you know, and so like on Windows C, that thing that sounds sort of like a Marvin Gaye conga, that's not. It's an alegre. It's a Colombian instrument, you know, and in you know. How this relates stylistically is just like we all kind of had we played with each other's lanes a little bit.
Yeah.
But then we also let people have their lanes a little
Right.
bit and bring influences to the table. Victor had a lot of great synthesizer lines, guitar and bass as well. You know, we tried to not worry about hybridizing. There's songs, you know, where it's like a folkloric Colombian rhythm, but like with some Tony Allen Afro beat on top of it. And then everything kind of had this palette of like Juno. We had analog synthesizers like underneath from the very beginning. And so we purposefully tried to get those voices together and see where it took us, you know, with tempos, with so some of the songs would begin from maybe a riff, and some songs even got written from the drum beat out, and some songs, you know, were a little more completed than others. But really, I think that the stylistic width of it is just kind of a byproduct of, you know, everyone being a competent musician, producer, and mixer and engineer sort of themselves, you know. And
Yeah.
then, like, so we get together and I was like, man, that's cool. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it really just formed its own, it got its own life after a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Alex Chavez put it in a really cool way. I think he's an academic. He's a PhD professor at Notre Dame, so he tends to kind of put these ideas together in a succinct way. But he mentioned how we just had, like, each one of us has our own vocabulary, but we also have a shared vocabulary.
Right.
And getting together, it was just very easy to pull from all of that. And like he mentioned, we did go into the project, and this was Alex's idea as well when we first started talking about it. We went into it with the idea of a sonic palette. So it was choosing specific sounds that we wanted to include. But that was the extent of our planning, really. But yeah, I think the fact that most of us go back a lot of years, have been playing for so long, and have a lot of deep histories. Like Alex has a very strong background in Mexican folkloric music, and it's one of the things that he researches and that he studies. When we started talking about who was going to play in this thing and who we wanted to work with, you know, I immediately thought of Victor, because Victor has a super strong background in Colombian folkloric music.
Right.
So I was like, man, you guys complement each other. And then obviously John comes in, and John not only has a background as a drummer in like rock bands and cumbia bands and all that, but also his background with Cuban music and folkloric music from that end. I think it all just came together, and it's super diverse, which is why a lot of times people will ask me like, oh, you have a new project? What does that sound like? What kind of music is that?
Right.
I hate trying to find the one word to put on it, because I'm like, man, it's all kinds of shit. Just check it out.
It's
Let
true.
me call Alex and find out what the proper sentence that answer is, because he would already have that written in the book. Yeah, that's
Well, it definitely has like a cool, like lo-fi quality. Obviously, the 388 is probably the culprit in that.
You know it and you love it.
You know I do, man.
Yeah, man. No, that's
That natural compression that it has just warms me from the inside out. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, man. No, that's I love that machine. I've actually been having some blasphemous thoughts about what comes next, but I'll always keep it and I'll always use it.
Is there a way to slave two of them together? That's my dream right there, like a 16 track.
Yeah,
maybe.
that would be the dream. No, not that I know.
Does
of,
it
but-
stay like it's like how much work do you have to put into that thing, like
Man,
to keep it running?
It's actually very, very self-sufficient. Besides just like keeping the heads clean and stuff like that, I just got it serviced like last month, and that was really the first time since when I bought it, I got it serviced. So that
Right.
was like in 2015 or something like that. And this was the first time that I'd done like a real service. I had a couple things like some fuses blew, one thing with the transport here and there one time. But for the most part, it's been running smooth, man. And like I said, this was the first kind of major service since 2015. So
That's
it's
amazing.
a very reliable machine.
Very reliable. 7 years,
Yeah,
and you do a lot of shit on that. I mean,
Yeah,
that
man.
thing's running a lot.
it is. It's like almost daily. The thing's on for hours and hours, you know?
it's a default to get the rhythmic beds, the first 8 most important tracks down to that, and then start working out as kind of a default workflow over there if you're not going directly into the box, you know.
Right.
And if you are going into the box, then it's still going to come out and touch it, you know, and to get the sound. But Yeah.
Oh, so even when you're recording in Pro Tools or something, you're still running it through the heads.
I still go. Well, I go through the mixer section,
Right.
Because I use those
preamps are
EQs
warm.
and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Those
really
preamps are
warm.
great.
Yeah.
I use outboard too, but yeah, and then usually we'll at least entertain the idea of dropping it onto the tape, even if we didn't go on the front end. We'll take mixes and drop them on the back end onto that 1/4 inch because it just sounds so fucking.
And then it gives you that kind of tape saturation that
exactly
immediately gives it that character.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to get with digital. I'm sure there's a button you can push now.
We couldn't resist it to the extent that, and Greg may have already relayed this on the Money Chicha story, but, we went out to Sonic Ranch to record that last Money Chicha record.
Oh, that's right.
And we wanted to be in one of the small rooms, but the OCs came and took the room we wanted to be in. And so we got downgraded / upgraded to the big room, the Neve room, the gigantic, snarky puppies big enough to record in their room, and there were mics of infinite quality on every single thing, one per conga head and stuff like that. And it was interesting to hear the demos that we had done back home, or the versions. They weren't even demos because we had recorded a bunch of the stuff at Lechehouse, and think, hey, man, this is $1 zillion worth of front end just doesn't give me the same feeling as that vibe of us being in the same room in the 388. So we ended up making a record that was kind of a hybrid of the two, and we were happy with it, but it was a funny feeling to think it's just not about budget,
No.
Really, if you're trying to capture a feeling, and one of the best ways to capture a feeling is just to be in a small space with a grimy tape player and a few good mics, and make it from there.
Oh, because you guys ended up recording out there because you went out there and played a show in Marfa or something, right?
I mean, we recorded the last
remember.
Fantasma record there, and it's idyllic. It's an amazing place to record, and it's vibey as it can possibly be.
Oh, yeah, man.
Tony's just he's an amazing
Tony, baby.
freak, and wake up in
Yes.
the morning.
I
and
love that dude.
The abuelas make you
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah,
Mexican
yeah.
breakfast, and so there's literally nothing wrong, but it was just funny because we didn't need to be in the Neve room. There's only 5 of us, and we take up we set up on tiny little stages. We
had an experience with the Fantasma record, is what it was. That we had. I mean, Fantasma's been around for over 20 years.
Yeah,
it's an effort to get everybody on the same page these days, with everybody doing all the shit that they do. So part of going out there was that we all focus on it, and there was like a revitalization that happened, and it was everybody focusing. We had a real cool producer.
Who was it?
Loco Bedoya, Carlos Bedoya. He's based out of Miami.
Okay.
Colombian guy, but it all kind of came together there, and that whole week that we were out there was an experience and a revitalization of the Fantasma whole ethos, and it was like, wow, and we made this record, we loved it. So we were going out to Marfa for this Money Chicha show, and John brought up, he was like, why don't we go out there and just do the same shit but with Money Chicha and really try to just recapture that vibe. And we did have a great time. Of course, we love it out there every time. But we just came back, and it sounded great, but it wasn't exactly what we wanted. So we took, the $150,000 Neve and slammed it through the $800. Or that's what I paid for it. The $800 Tascam.
Yeah.
And then what we got out was what we were happy with. So
we had to sum so many tracks because they had so many microphones on us. It was crazy how many microphones they had on us. It was a lot of work to get it down to a workable thing to mix with.
Yeah.
It's I don't have David Byrne's Neve console in front of me to mix with. So
is that whose Neve is out there?
I think it was David Byrne's, and then
Here's get up just a little bit more.
Maybe, or maybe David.
No,
Burns.
it was half of it was from Motown,
There you go, sorry.
and then the other half was Madonna.
Okay, there.
And
you
they
go.
They just spliced those together.
So it's two. What are those? 5088? Is that? Or what's the?
I don't know what the number is actually.
I'm surprised at you.
You guys,
I
I've
didn't have tape op.
I've never recorded there, but I've gone out there and just stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a hang for sure.
David Garza kind of low-key
David
lives there.
half the year or something.
Yeah, he's a resident dude there and does a lot of production. But yeah, it's just, man, it's super chill out there. It's a lot of fun, and there's always cool people there. There's always badass musicians hanging out, and
I'm gonna go see David day after tomorrow.
Oh,
I'm so
I know
excited.
He's coming to
it's
town.
been years.
Yes, I believe I'll be at that show too. It has been forever. I'm gonna get to go out in November to Sonic Ranch and do a little retreat thing, and he's gonna be one of the people producing and writing there. You know, so really looking forward to that.
Oh, that's amazing.
I love him dearly.
I do too.
He musically, the Love Beats predate me being a musician. Like they used to come to Wichita. Well, I was playing guitar. I wasn't a drummer at the time, and I was in Wichita Falls, and there was one club there, and so the band Whitey that I was in Denton would come and play there.
I remember
Can't
Whitey.
say Retarded Elf, but Retarded Elf from here was coming there, and David Garza and the Love Beats. So that was my first time seeing Juliana and Clay Pendergrass and Michael Hale, and they were just at the peak. And Juliana and David were a couple at the time too, and the songs they were writing were just so amazing.
Amazing.
You know? And my wife, now girlfriend, then, you know, we just loved them so much, and so they're like family. Like David, you know, he'll play Under the Evergreens just for us because we're just like, man, come on, you got to play Under the Evergreens.
Yeah.
You know, I know you haven't played it in
He's
15
great
years.
like that.
Yeah, he gets the mood.
He used to call me and my ex-wife, like I got married in like 1994, and by then he and I were really good friends, and I wanted my wife to walk down the aisle to one of his songs called Quiet by Twang Twang Chaka Boom. Sounds like a Disney song. It's unbelievable. And he couldn't be there because he was on the road all the time back then, and so he couldn't be there. And Sarah Hickman sang it, but he would call us like the morning of our anniversary, right when we were waking up at like 7:30 in the morning. Ring, hey guys, happy anniversary. There's nothing like that dude. Like he's like a magical fellow.
He really is. Yeah. And low key intimidating because music is oddly easy for him. No matter, like, if you've ever worked at music and struggled, you know,
he's inside of it.
Are just like he is music.
That's the thing about him. Like he's somewhere inside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think these guys, you know, even though it's like a different type of ego representation altogether, but they would compare, you know, his facility to Prince, you know, just like
100%.
You know,
yeah,
the dude that is
100%. Yeah, yeah, he's got it all.
David appreciation post.
There's always I have an iPod still, and I have it in a little dock next to my bed, and I was talking to my old manager from like the late '90s. The other night we had this long, like 4-hour conversation. We went into a David thing, and then I actually went through my iPod and I was like, I have more fucking David on here than the Beatles, and I have every Beatle record on there.
Right. And that's how prolific he is.
That's how prolific is. That's what a fan I am too. Like whatever, if it's one of his fucking weird 4-track things, I'm sold. If it's a big record, I'm sold. Like whatever it is, I'm into it. Fiona Apple, and he's just making weird noises, sold. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
No está aquí. Why did you name the album that?
So it's another pretty like esoteric kind of conceptual thing that we actually came up with when we were brainstorming the name of the band, essentially. Which John was supposed to be there, but he didn't show up.
Yeah, I didn't make it.
It was Victor, Alex, and I, and that like conceptually or what it means, even though it's stylized as one word. It's obviously 3 words. It's no estás aquí.
Yeah.
So it's basically saying like, you're not here.
Right.
And you could think of it in a few different ways, but
I just realized y'all named it because I wasn't at the.
Because you weren't there.
It's named for you, man.
No estás aquí. But it's like, sort of the idea that what we did for that record and where we're at is basically like the listener is not there yet.
Right.
Like we're in this other place. We were joking around with ideas like music of a future past, or I don't know, just weird shit. We were trying to think of weird shit and sort of trying to conceptualize what the sort of timelessness that we were kind of putting this in, you know, the context that we were putting in, that it's weird, it's not modern, it's not old, it's just sort of a weird place that it exists, and that's what that was trying to reflect.
It's weird because the futuristic quality that it has is remember what the future was supposed to look like in the late 60s and early 70s?
Right. We were supposed to have flying cars by now.
Yeah, that's the future that I think of.
Yeah.
Like a future that people thought in the 70s was going to... Yeah.
That's called. Yeah.
Retrofuturism.
It's the ideas of the future from the past.
Speaking of that, I saw Kraftwerk the other day. It was one of the most amazing shows I've ever seen, career spanning, retrospective, but they still used their visualizations like for Autobahn from the 70s or for numbers from the 80s. They didn't like update it to make it all new and super LED badass. Right. They just used it, and it still felt like it came from miles in the future. It was so wild, to just get that feeling, and then just reinforce it. Like, yes, this was the future then, and it still is the future now, even though none of it, most of it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Isn't going to happen. So
it's funny, like sound-wise, that what they do is kind of the opposite of you guys. Like they're like machine-y, and you guys are so human musically. Like I equate you guys with an immense amount of humanity in a good way.
I think so. And that's where like all the sort of like the folkloric information that was in there, because it's there, with all the percussion Victor put down and what John brings to the table. But then we were using these analog synthesizers, which is a huge part of the sound. So it's a real interesting mix. It's a cyborg record.
Yeah.
Piano through tape delay is also like a thing that you
what through tape delay?
Piano through, Speice Echo was like all over the record. And when we first did it was like, that's cool, and then kept coming back.
Well, my Speice Echo was doing this weird thing, which I eventually got it repaired. Well, I mean, there was nothing wrong with it, just the tape was like stretching or something was happening, where it would do these random like modulations of pitch and time. Like it would kind of slow down and speed up by itself.
Oh, that's cool.
And we decided to run piano for one track through the Speice Echo, and it started doing this thing where it was speeding up and slowing down. And you can hear it on the record.
El Payaso, there's a weird kind of like detuned thing. I think that's what scares me.
Well, there's a couple of different detuning aspects, because I used a vibrato pedal that has a heavy detune. So most of the guitars are through that, and then then we put the piano through it on one song. I think it was on Vuela, right? And that shit was like, whoa, is that too much? We were like, no, it's perfect. But it doesn't do it anymore. So it was just like a moment in time with that Speice Echo.
I think I wrote that one down too. I think that's my favorite song on the record.
Yeah,
it's so
awesome,
dreamy.
Man.
Yeah,
that was so we put out 3 singles, and honestly, we wanted to put out like all of them as singles. But that was one of the big contenders, because I felt, we all felt it it had this really, I don't know, crossover appeal, I guess, because it's like ostensibly Latin music, but it really almost felt like a Radiohead track or something, or like it could exist in that world, kind of like an indie sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it was just an interesting mix the way that one came together too. So.
It's a lot of like, I just think about like the indie kids in Mexico City that like the Smiths and the Cure and stuff like that. And so to me, I feel like that one really hits that note real hard. Like,
and that's a lot of Alex's background. And he's like super into like Joy Division and all that sort of the Cure.
Beto was, did those types of vibes. They were Latino for sure, but like, real strong indie rock leanings towards the Smiths and the Cure and the giants of that time.
That's also a really great showcase of Alex's just sort of melodic and harmonic sensibility, because that vocal is like it's super freaking weird.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff that just comes to him, and seeing him work that way was really impressive to me. I think both John and I have talked about that, of like, wow, man, he could really pick out these really incredible harmonies when they were building out the vocals, just stuff that you don't normally think of. You know, it's like
it was David Byrne-esque to me. Is like the harmonies that he would choose. That always like I get a thrill with certain Talking Heads and David Byrne harmonies, they're the odd ones, and he seems to have a real gift for finding that, but he can mimic anything. So as a vocal arranger, Alex is just amazing. They hadn't heard, I don't believe he had heard Los Zafiros before I played him Los Zafiros.
Yeah, that was
and we were writing the song Rezo, the one that has the kind of Pet Sounds background vocal thing. And but really that it had become like, it was a bit of a bolero prayer situation. And I was like, wow, there's this phrase ending that the Zephyros do that's, with this one chord, maybe it's diminished. I don't know what it is, but it's this thing. Like, let's listen to it. And we listened to the song, and man, he went to work at the piano, and it took about 4 hours of like really him and Victor doubling everything and then figuring out what harmonically would work or not. And then we ended up with it. Like, we like had it, nailed it, and it was really impressive, I thought. And do you know Los Zephyros? Have you heard that?
No.
Okay, so there's a 60s record called Bossa Cubana, but they're a Cuban band, and the Beatles were actually really obsessed with them.
Oh, really?
They used to, they couldn't really hit over here because of the embargo, but like John Lennon wanted to see the inside of the lead singer's mouth to see why he could sing so high.
Bossa Cubana is the name of the album?
Yeah, and it's Zephyros like sapphires, and so Los Zephyros, they've got a ton of stuff, but Bossa Cubana is the regular. It's, dealing with the bossa craze of the time, but I heard that the Beatles used to follow him around, and I know that their guitarist too ended up
Manuel Galvan ended up doing a record with
Ry Cooder,
with Ry Cooder and the whole, like, one of his social clubs.
Nice.
So he was one of the ones that got dug up, from the past down there when they did that business. But Eddie Torres turned me onto Los Zephyros. I got to give it the props because I've had so many. One of my favorite things about touring, and there aren't a whole lot of them anymore, but one of them is like when you're with someone and they've got like lots and lots of hip music.
Oh yeah,
and you got nothing to do but drive.
Yeah.
Go, who's this? Who's this? Who's this? And a lot of people take a good deal of pride in being able to like give you a ton of who's this moments. Everyone does. We're all musos, to a certain extent, But he was in Kalu's band with me for a while, and we would always do that to each other when we were driving. And I did one run with the Pumas, man, and AJ Haynes from the Seratones was singing with them on that particular group of shows. And she just had all the B-sides, the C-sides, and the D-sides just lined up and ready to go like a radio station. As did Vincent, the bass player. And so it was just fun to kick that, and that's how I got to Los Zephyros, and it was really neat to be able to play for Alex and have him just go to work, and then we ended up with Rezo, and that's, kind of where that was born.
Do you guys ever know this guy, Matt Harris? He's in a band called Oranger, psychedelic band from
I've heard the name
psych rock
Oranger
band.
before, I didn't know him.
Very familiar with
He played with Ian Moore like 15 years ago.
Wow.
And I know that they were going to do some stuff because I played with them then, and I did a tour with them. But he was the who's that guy for me whole tour.
Yeah, we used to, when I was with Mike Dillon, we would do that with songs, and then like he was so punk rock, it would be like okay, and he would just start it on stage like without saying anything to anyone, just start the song we were listening to or a vibe like it, or he would have gone in 4-track together, just the worst, most, primitive 4-track. But then, like, the fearlessness to, like, we're doing it on stage for these 11 people right now. That's what's going on,
That's weird. I was in a band that toured with 10 Hands. Oh, but it was right after he left.
Yeah.
It was when The Big One Is Coming came out. We did a bunch of shows with them. But they used to, but I think even when he was in the band, they would come out and whatever song was playing on the thing, they would just start playing it and then go into their own
That makes
song.
sense.
Yeah.
Paul's a composition major with perfect pitch, so he could just like go snag a song. It's amazing. Those guys still get together. Mike gets together with them and plays.
Oh, really?
Mike is the king of like none of my bands has ever truly died.
Broken up.
They might have all broken up, and they might have even been on bad terms, but there is a show possibility in the future. If it's one of the 330 days I'm not working, so.
Dude, the first couple of times that I saw Billy Goat were so weird. One time I saw Billy Goat, and it was the New Bohemians.
Yeah.
Like, Chamberlain was still in the band.
Oh, that was proto.
And it was like at Zelda's in Houston, like in the small room of Fitzgerald's. and they were all tripping their asses off because I remember trying to talk to a couple of them afterwards, and like no one could even understand what I was saying. And so, and that was amazing. But the next time I went to go see him, it was at the Axiom in Houston. Did you guys ever go to that place? It's a punk rock place, like on the east side of downtown. It was a weird, scary place.
I'm not sure if I made it there or not.
I went after a show I played, and Mike was swinging from the rafters completely naked. Like I saw his taint. It's just not anything I ever thought I'd see.
Too many people in the 90s had that experience.
That's what everybody always says.
That's hilarious. That man's got a work ethic too, boy. Talking about prolific.
Did you go to that show that him and Earl played?
Yeah, Money Chicha.
Yeah, Money Chicha.
Oh, that's right.
Mike was that happened via Mike said Earl's coming to town. We're doing a couple of duo shows. Put it on Facebook, and then I just put up Austin, please, and then a couple of other people, Chris Payer and a few others, were like, yes, Austin. And then he got at me and was like, well, Earl's leaving July 5th. July 4th is a Monday. It's a terrible night for a show. Can we do anything? And we tried to bounce it over to Celeste and see if anything was available at the gallery or whatever. And then he hit me back with Hotel Vegas. I was like, it's okay. I got to see if Money Chicha will consent to this, because I want to be at this show and I want to be involved in it. And I want to help, and I feel like we can help bring some people on a Monday anyway, And so that's how that all happened. But man, it was such a great night of music, and it was great.
So
to
sorry
see
I
them
missed
again. And Mike and Earl's chemistry is definitely like, it's a thing to behold. There's not a whole lot of people that have been playing together for 37 or whatever years and improvising together for that period of time, and have been just through as much as them, So it was a great time. They loved Money Chicha, so that felt great for me and us, and it was just a lovely night.
Yeah, dude. One night I was at Halcyon on my way to go see Air, like 20 years ago, and there's this guy drinking coffee, and I'm like, Earl? And he's like, yeah, I hadn't seen him in so long. I was like, I don't even remember. I was the lead singer of this band, Panjandrum. He's like, oh yeah. We start talking. I'm like, what are you doing in town? He's like, playing with Air. And I went to the show that night. He was so fucking awesome. And he was almost, and it's weird to say this about Earl Harvin, because all of us that grew up like watching him, he's like fucking Elvis of like drumming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In many ways. Yeah, for sure.
And I say that more than like a drummer, because he's I just remember he would walk into the backstage and my whole band would just like look at their shoes.
Yeah,
and
you can't take your eyes off him when he's playing. I mean, there's a thing about Earl.
Yeah. But I think he was even almost better when he was playing bass with that, because he would play bass on some songs, and it was fucking unbelievable. His feel was like Earl.
He played a lot of vibraphone and mallet instruments and timpani bass lines.
Oh, really?
The duo thing with Mike, but yeah, people forget that about great drummers. There's not that many great drummers that can't hack around on some other instruments well.
Yeah.
I mean, timing is a thing that aids you on any instrument. And so. He's made a couple of little solo records that never did anything, just like creation vibes for him. But like,
remember Rubber Bullet?
I love,
His fucking band was
amazing.
You
don't even want. We're going out.
I know. Sorry.
Like, take the next
back to Caramelo Haze. I know. What I should do is set up a thing where I get a bunch of dudes and we just talk about Earl.
Right. If you want to
make a show, just like that'd be awesome.
I was telling Jordan Cook, who's a young drummer.
I love Jordan.
Great
player, drummer.
And he was speaking of Ian, he plays with him, but he was there at the Earl show, and we started talking about just he's born and raised in Dallas, and so he saw him when he was a little kid, and I just think that I remember really well that in the early 90s when Earl played, if you weren't playing or if you had a gig before or after, but if you could be there as a drummer, you were there. And there was this super familiar feeling of just going to the show and you don't want to admit it, but you're watching Earl the whole damn time.
Yeah.
It's like ballet of the hands. And then you look up and there's Michael Hale doing the same thing. There's J.J. Johnson doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We all just were like, woo, this guy, So he
the children
really
of Earl.
Wide shadow on a lot of really great drummers, and he's such a humble, nice person, giving person that it's really a lovely feeling to see young players, old players, in between players there, checking him out again on a Monday. It was just so cool.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, I'm dropping this show on Monday. So, because you guys have a show on Wednesday,
Yeah.
and I want to
Yes.
make sure the word gets out. Yeah, it's at 3:10. You guys are doing your first show as a band, right?
Indeed.
Yes.
Is there more shows like on the books, or is this something? Because I'm going to be out of town on Wednesday. Can I
There-
see this somewhere?
It's not on the books, but it is in our mind.
Okay.
So we have intention. I don't know actually about Austin, but what we'd like to do is also do a debut in Chicago and then potentially LA.
Oh,
and
wow.
we may eventually come back to Austin. I mean, this is really like we're going to see how it goes because we've never done it.
Yeah.
So we're just putting it together and kind of figuring it out. And yeah, let's see what kind of reception we get and let's see how well we pull it off.
So that's Wednesday, July 27th. And the record at NOESTÁSAQUÍ is available now wherever people stream and download their jams.
Yep.
Exactly,
And
yes.
Caramelo Haze has a website and a link tree and all the things that people need now.
We're doing our best to be as socially active as bands now are. It doesn't come particularly naturally to old folks like me, for sure.
Me neither.
They want you to, make little TikTok videos and stuff like that.
Yeah, the label made us
We've been
start a
doing-
TikTok, and we were like, God damn, not another.
I started at
like, thing
TikTok,
that-
but I haven't posted anything yet.
Right, me too. And so it's.
I feel like the second I post something, I'm just going to get a bunch of things like, hey, old guy, get out of our world and go back to Facebook where your grandma is. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It seems like the overriding sentiment for people is just that always record yourself. Everything is content. Every single thing is content. And so that part is what I have a hard time
Me
with. 'Cause
too.
my regular mundane life, it's not
me
content.
too.
I don't care,
Yeah, I think we
but
just-
then I do miss things, and I was like, maybe should have got that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
so maybe people would like to have seen that. But young kids who have grown up on video and the internet their entire life just already do that. They have no concept of privacy, and so they're just like, yeah, I'll just record everything all the time.
Right.
And then not only do you create all this content, but you get really good at having the attention on you.
Yeah.
I get like stage fright or whatever you would call it, anxiety.
Right. Yeah.
About all the attention's on me. Like I don't always rise and just be my baddest ass self in that moment.
Right.
But like if you're always recording everything you do, you're practicing
you
for
get better at
exactly
it.
that.
There's some people who do it naturally too, like somebody
Right.
like Susanna Schoffel. I don't know if you guys are friends with her, but she's
absolutely.
but her like social media, like she posts a lot,
Yeah.
and she posts about her life, but it's all very natural and normal. I
Right.
feel like if I did it, I would seem really disingenuous.
Yeah. I think it's just escaping from that self-judgment zone.
Yeah, I guess so.
She's got this beautiful voice and is a DJ and is, everything she touches is great. And, it does feel like that with her. But, like, there's for me, the struggle's just always been about, like, I don't know. Once I put it out there, then people can judge
Yeah.
it,
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I think we just think too much about
much,
it. Like
yeah,
we
I'm
want to put
classic.
out something really good
Well,
rather than just putting everything out.
right.
You know?
And we come from a time, like I've noticed that, like a generational difference between me and young people, and I'm 53, is that like in 1993, if you were like people do like Academy Award acceptance speeches on social media when they get a Wednesday gig at 6 p.m. at the Saxophone. I can't believe I'm finally doing it.
I'd like to thank
Yeah,
just use this.
exactly. I come from a time where if you ever said shit like that about yourself, people would be like, "Shut up, dude! You're a
it's
dildo."
pretend-
You know what I mean?
Quit it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the notion of privacy and pretense have just
And
totally
bragging
morphed into
was
a whole
ugly.
other thing.
Yeah. It only worked if you were a rapper. Like then you could go around saying you were badass and no one would yell at you.
Yeah, but you
yeah.
have to sell it constantly now. That's
Yeah.
what it is. You got to sell everything. Like, hey, I just went to the grocery store. Hey, I'm gonna watch
No,
this
that's
movie.
the
I'd
point.
like to thank the
Yeah.
people that made it and whatever. But
Yeah, I have one friend that does all this stuff where he's always like, "Hey, I just bought this the new the new pocket piano
unboxing
figure," and just like, "Hey, this is it
Yeah.
works this and this is good," and I'm always like, "Wow, I should do that,"
That is
but
an
I don't even
entire
care about
subgenre
that much about stuff
unboxing
I like.
videos. Like it's an entire subgenre, and then like where it gets just really weird. And South Park already covered this in an episode, but like with PewDiePie, but like that whole trip of monetizing watching someone else do it, like monetizing watching someone else playing video games.
Yeah, my neighbor's son does that. He watches YouTube
of like
other kids playing video games.
commentary about somebody else doing something. It's wild.
It's weird because we make all this music and you put it out there and you make art, and it takes a lot to make this art and do this shit. And it's really difficult to get like a monetary return on that. Not that that's why we're doing it, but it's our fucking livelihood, so we should get paid for it. But then you see some 9-year-old kid who made like $10 million last year talking about how shitty toys are.
Right.
You're like, what?
You're like,
Or like Fleetwood Mac gets a #1 song because a guy is like riding behind a truck and drinking orange juice, and like all that stuff is like how is this a thing? Exactly. No one was talking about Kate Bush 6 months ago, not that she doesn't deserve it.
Exactly, it's
but,
a great song and she's great. But
Master of Puppets was back in the top 10. My kids are into it now.
Wow. Yeah. That's right. That's from the TV as well. Yeah.
Well, I hope that Nacional is able to get some of these Caramelo Haze songs in that zeitgeist.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's definitely a hope there, because as you say, it is our livelihood, and that is probably one of the more lucrative.
Be nice to get paid.
Ways to do it these days,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, dudes, thank you so much for doing this. This record's great. Did I say that?
You can.
It is fucking. It really is fucking great. Like I really like. I'll let you guys know when you do something that I'm like, okay, finally, thank you for making something that's not very good.
It's a bit of a misstep. Let's talk about this misstep for 3 hours.
Oh, yeah. And I'm serious. I'm gonna do a Earl Harbin 10 Hands like podcast episode, and you're gonna be one of the guests.
Man, believe me.
All right.
Hey, Johnny, thank you for always having us out here with all this shit that we do and giving us a spot to talk about.
I'm really lucky to get to be a person that is getting this shit as it comes. Like I feel like it sounds weird to say, and I'm glad we got to this, but thank you. Like, thank you guys. Because you guys really, like, your work ethic, your everything, like, ups the bar for everybody else in this scene. And I believe that your family of musicians is very responsible for upping a lot of people's shit.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. That means a
both
lot.
creatively and working hard. Yeah. Thanks, brothers. All right, gang, that's John Speice and Beto Martinez from Caramelo Haze. Get their album No Está Aquí, available now wherever it is you stream and download your music on Nacional Records. Go to their record release show this Wednesday, July 27th at 310 ACL Live with special guest Peligrosa and more. Go to Caramelo Haze for all of your Caramelo Haze needs. That's what you got to do. And hey, don't forget when you're out there checking out Caramelo Haze, subscribe to this podcast, like it. Like whatever episode you're enjoying. Let us know how we're doing. Find us on Facebook at How Did I Get Here, or follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I am at Johnny Gowdy. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And hey, gang, don't forget, come out to Lush Life this Friday, July 29th at the Pershing with Joshua Asante, James Robinson, Leo Crimbley, and a DJ set by JaRon Marshall, and the whole night hosted by me and my pal, Kat Costolo. Go to thepershing.com for tickets. Have a great week. Let's get down.
besar.